welcome back to the desk for the last game of the day here. It's a rematch between PSG Talon and MDK. We've seen that one before.
Yes, we have. In fact, I remember seeing PSG Talon's, like, they've showcased the video of them going through the draw, seeing that they're going up against Mad Lions. Like, all right, Revengers time. This is the Avengers. We're getting a chance to be able to get a get back versus Mad Lions. So I feel like they're a bit fiery, knowing that they have to face them again.
And I mean, it's somewhat easier being the team that lost. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but let me elaborate.
Okay.
Because it's so much easier to fix your flaws and then decide what you're going to do different coming into the matchup instead of being MDK, who obviously won last time. So they had their way of playing. And I mean, their way of playing was mainly for Alvaro. What a series he had. But I also think PSG just in general leveled up from what we saw in play-ins. And I think this will be closer than we had anticipated at first.
But let's talk about improvements then, maybe. Right, on the side of PSG. Much more control they feel in the early game.
And to me, it was around Woody a little bit more, because that's what we were looking for. In Plains, we didn't get too much of that. We saw a lot of that domestically in the PCS, where he was going up against the SoftBank Hawks and everything, and Woody was, remember, the finals MVP. Somebody was creating a lot of plays, roaming a lot, and a lot of the early control that they had versus Humble Life was because of the early roams that he had, and I felt like the early skirmishes there too favored them. Yeah,
I mean, for sure. We even saw that in the beginning when they played up against 100 Thieves. It was through Woody, who always had really good flanks on the Alistar as well. So I think coming up against Hanwha Esports, they found a way to kind of replicate what they so much did domestically. They have a very slow-paced style, but it's usually still around these objectives that they're able to secure and then just spread out the map and play through that. So now, having had a couple games to get into their flow, I mean, hopefully they're putting up a fight.
It's funny because they'll challenge you. They'll like, Woody's the type of person who's like, okay, I will be there with JunJia on Scuttle Crab. Are you gonna be here or not? Because if you're not, then fine, we'll take it and we don't have to take a fight. And oftentimes, if the enemy team is willing to take a fight, like Azhi will be looking and be trying to take something on a side lane. Of course, this is when they were going up against Hanwha. It was a pretty sad later portions of the game, but this is when they were actually getting things going early.
No, I totally loved all the early game tools they kind of drafted for themselves, right? You had the Alistar to play through that we've already talked so much about. But what we didn't talk so much about was the Sejuani pairing with the Jags. It made it really easy to skirmish through topside as well. It was so easy for them to find that early pick potential, and it just made it so much easier for them to play that entire early game.
Yeah, the Grubs take there was great up until Zeka did some Yone things. Like the moment that happened.
He's a clutch player, that Zeka.
Is it a Zeka thing? Is it a Yone thing? Who knows? Well, let's see if we see
I think it's Zeka.
I think it's both. I think it's both. But talking a bit about Mad Lions here, GB, you were mentioning Alvaro's performance. I want to give props to all the team, honestly. When you think of the expectations again at the beginning of the year, the slump, I want to say, they had for 2 splits and finally making it to Worlds. Pretty good performance in playing. We're not going to talk about what happened yesterday. They had a good 10 minutes, and that's what matters.
No, absolutely. And I think you can think and have expectations of MDK going as far or low as you want here at Worlds. I don't think personally they're going to go to the quarters, but I think no matter what...
I don't like what I'm hearing here.
That's okay.
Raz, do you want to go? Sorry.
No matter what.
No, sorry.
Pull it in.
No, come on. No,
I'll give you a chance. I'll give you a chance.
Okay,
I'll give you a chance, GB.
How long? How much do I have? And don't ask me to say it in 5 words, because then I'm screwed.
10 words.
No, I'm not even going to do that, because my head is going to get blown up.
Okay, fair.
I think that Alvaro will be a future prospect of Europe. Like, I think what he already showed in Winter and what he's shown here at Worlds against the high quality of opponents, he's only going to continue to grow. I think he'll be one of the best supports we'll have in Europe in the future, and I think he's already laid a great foundation. Like last time they played against each other, it's moments like this in Game 1 where he was already carrying and setting up MDK, but not only that, he continued to do so in the series when he got on the Alistar.
That was such a game-winning play that they had on Maple, and I will still always remember much earlier on when they went up against Kati in VKE, and he just kind of completely burned his flash, pushed him off, one lane for Fresskowy. Like, I think the team, when they started this year off, I was pretty excited about them because they were a unit. They felt like they were always on the same page, and that was great to see from them. And obviously, throughout the year, it kind of teetered off, but they're back on track, and now they're going up against PSG, and I'm favoring them.
Yeah, I mean, the only issue I had with MDK in their early game was their understanding of what Alvaro needed to do in that swap situation, because he was trying to go down and cover for bot, where against PSG, where he unfortunately tried to take a trade with Ray, and that kind of put him in an unfavorable position on the dive, and it kind of made it really difficult for them to cover for Myrwn as well down in that bottom side, which I was a bit disappointed about, because I thought in play-ins, they were the one who was initiating those plays, those lane swaps, right? They were the one who was actually having really good success with that when they had Supa and Jinx.
And Laura, I know you didn't want to talk about it, but let's talk about it. The BLG game, because that was the one where literally the first game in Swiss stage where I'm like, are we getting an upset? Like the early dive that happened when Myrwn comes up ahead, the early skirmish on Scuttle Crab, not Scuttle Crab, but the Grubs, where I was like, wait a minute, they're beating BLG in fights after fights. I thought that was going to be the moment where, so I was like, maybe. That was a big maybe. And
we were all thinking that.
Yes.
I think the problem was MDK got it in their own head as well, because while the game state wasn't the worst in the mid game, they started making plays that seemed like it was a really bad game state. I remember them chasing Bin all the way down in that bottom side, where they're just losing their entire base, right? They're losing to the mid lane turret, they're losing the next one. So it felt like they committed to desperation plays when I think they really didn't need to. So I'm hoping we see a more calm and collected Mad Lions
And I
today.
feel like, especially after what happened yesterday, they're going to readjust the approach that they have coming into this
Yes,
game.
and I feel like Coach Bin gave them an advice. Which was, save your pick against us. Don't go with anything crazy now. Go against the next opponent. Guess who the next opponent is? It's PSG. So if you have a Lulu top that you want to have, bring back the Nidalee. Flex, by the way. I'm just saying they're an incredibly creative team. I don't want to be seeing G2 be the only team that pushes the levers when it comes to the draft.
No, MDK, G2 has been taking notes on MDK this year, honestly, in terms of like how crazy they can bring the drafts they can bring here on the Rift. But I'm just wondering, they know PSG. PSG knows MDK. Both teams evolved. The meta evolved a bit also since play-ins. Who do you think it's favoring now, considering the new champions that we saw, but also what Mad Lions can bring to the table? Because I don't expect at least more creativity than Mad Lions on the side of PSG.
Ooh, I think so. For Azhi, knowing that he could just go back to the Rumble, I know that that was something that he was, already had there, that he was willing to play. But I think we've gotten the confirmation that the nerfs weren't enough and that people are still valuing it. And some of the ults, especially from Zika on LNG, were just so good in teamfight changing. Azhi is a good Rumble. I would love to see him on that pick, especially with how good the backline has been for Mad Lions. So I'm pretty excited for it. I think we would. That would be my pick. I don't know about you.
No, I mean, I think that I haven't seen enough yet for PSG, actually, if I'm honest. I'm hoping to see more. I would say that flexibility-wise, we have seen more from MDK just yet.
Well, let's see now. We're ready for the game. Casters, over to you. Last game of the day. Take it away.
And here we go, MDK versus PSG, the rematch. We've all been waiting for, mostly because you're not usually able to have rematches here at Worlds. Or at least not in the Swiss stage, where both these teams met up in the plains. It was MDK who came out victorious, then a 2-1 victory, but PSG have leveled up dramatically since then. The question is, have MDK?
Yeah, see, I'm not sure I'd buy into that.
I think they have, Benny. I think they looked really bad at the start of plains. And then they looked a lot better.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I think that PSG is a strong team, but I think that both Mad and PSG had really tough opponents.
No, they did.
They had the first seed from the LPL and the first seed from the LCK, so...
Yeah, PSG didn't look as great yesterday, but at the end of plains, they looked better.
Sure.
They were kind of better then, MDK didn't look great yesterday either against HLE.
I mean, the thing is, the advantage, I would say, that PSG have going into this matchup is that they lost the series against Mad.
Yes.
But now this one arguably holds more weight, in a sense.
Yeah, I can see that.
And now, because you've lost 2-1, you now have like a good idea of the things that went wrong for you, and then you can come back.
Learn from your mistakes.
Whereas from Mad's perspective, they had a clear idea of how they were winning. And so maybe they don't change. And because it's only a best of one. But again, like, it's kind of like, You're getting very granular there, you know what I mean?
It's kind of ethereal. You know, it's kind of loosey-goosey.
But this is an example. The Nidalee ban, I think, is something that PSG definitely respect a lot from MDK, and it makes a lot of sense. BLG showed that same level of respect. The Aurora going to come through from MDK, so pretty standard. The K'Sante. Now, again, this was something that MDK basically just showcased in the playing stage, which was we are going to play through our Jinx K'Sante lane swap approach, and it's worked for them. But a lot of other teams have just been trying to deny it as much as possible. Myrwn hasn't been showing us a bunch of crazy different picks here at the World Championship. He's actually been, well, like every other top laner in all honesty, which has come to a bit of a surprise to many of us.
Yeah.
So we'll see if he brings out something different in this matchup today. Jarvan going to be removed from the side of PSG with Sejuani, so a lot of jungle bans. In fact, that's 4 across the board. What will be the first pick?
Nidalee's a top lane ban, man.
True.
Kind of forgot about that. Yone available. It's been first pick worthy throughout the course of today, and it continues to be so as Maple will lock that in for himself in the mid lane, we assume. Obviously, Azhi could take it towards the top side, but wow. Okay, that was quick from MDK. Immediate Ziggs Vi. They know where their bread is buttered. They are looking for that all-in with the Mega Inferno Bomb to follow up.
I mean, now what do you think about if you're PSG? Maokai maybe is a possibility. If you really want to round out your top side, which many teams have been doing, you could go for the Renekton here as well for Azhi. I mean, you could also consider denying the Jax away, so you just lock that one in and then you've got that for yourself. They could also consider the Rumble, something that Azhi has, well, he's very well known for.
Also gives you the mixed damage that you're looking for, right?
Exactly.
Because Ziggs already off the cards means that you can't play Ziggs bot lane to give you that magic damage. There's the Rumble. Good call on both the Maokai and the Rumble there, Vedi. Maple hasn't yet locked this in for PSG, but it makes the most sense in terms of rounding out damage profiles and rounding out that top side. The question is, has Myrwn got something spicy in his sleeves?
But you don't really care about top right now. What you're thinking about is either mid or support. You could lock in something like a Leona just to guarantee it, so you've got that lockdown, good matchup alongside the Ziggs. Or, I was going to say, the other thing is Smolder, depending on what your priority is. And it looks like they're saying, even if we can't get our hands on the Leona, it's fine. There are other options. Instead, we want to make sure that we have this scaling AD carry that can answer the Yone later on in the team fight. So, Fresskowy going to be piloting that one. I will be honest, I have not been impressed with Fresskowy's Syndra and his laning phase in general. I think one of the big things to be concerned about if you're a Mad Lions fan coming into this matchup is Maple versus Fresskowy, as Maple has been warming up throughout the tournament. Giving him this Yone could very well be a scary situation to find yourself in. Jhin, Renekton, going to be the next bans coming out from MDK PSG. I wonder if we'll get the Ashe coming through, maybe even the Kai'Sa. But Kai'Sa, maybe that's a little bit too ambitious in terms of its short range.
Could you ever run Smolder top here?
Definitely could.
Yeah, like Myrwn played it twice against G2, lost both those games, but it is something he's brought out before, even with the nerfs, can still work okay, right? So the Jhin and the Ezreal banned away by MDK, they've already got their bot lane on lockdown, so they are just trying to remove some of Betty's possible tools. He did play the MF in the game they won against MDK in that series that PSG obviously ended up losing. So,
I ban Camille, you know.
Yeah?
Just thinking, I mean, Camille's lockdown when paired alongside Vi and Ziggs is a very lethal combo. But Nara is the safer top lane option. Again, as you rightly said, right now they believe that this Smolder is going into the mid lane.
I think that's a valid belief, right? But
there's Galio. Now that, I think, is Galio top.
It's quite possible.
We've been... when did we hear about it? I feel like it was summer regular season we were hearing about Galio. Because Galio got some changes.
We heard about it before MSI as well. Because I remember the big thing was like, we're expecting to see Galio top at MSI, and then it really wasn't played that much. But yeah.
But I genuinely think this is Galio top, we'll see once the final lock-in comes through. But there's that Kai'Sa that we did talk about. I was a little bit worried given that how short range the champion is, but paired alongside the decent amount of dive in the backline threat that they do have, I think it can make sense, especially with just adding a little bit more magic damage to the comp. Now, you imagine Rell is going to be the round out. Very stock standard draft. I mean, this is basically the same. I think this is the same composition that JunJia ran earlier today.
I think so.
It was many games ago, so I have forgotten. But the round out now from MDK. Naturally, I would expect a Leona here. but I don't know.
I mean, Alistar's also okay into the Rell.
Yeah, also fine.
And Alvaro, a very good Alistar player, having a great world so far. Is Alvaro in the bottom lane.
So I think that is Galio top.
Yeah, we saw this once in the LEC. It's the only time it's been played in major region in 2024. It was Broken Blade in the season finals against Giant X. He, at the time, went for I think it was a Hollow Radiance build with the Riftmaker.
I mean, it's just, Galio is great into magic damage. Just fact, his W gives him a magic damage shield, and then also when you press the W, it also gives you more damage mitigation versus magic damage as opposed to physical damage. So he's just great into AP matchups in general, and his ultimate is just a great global tool that allows you to attack side lanes, but also just more peel. Like, there's a lot of dive that's going to be coming through onto the Smolder, onto the Ziggs, but you can use it both offensively and defensively, with both Alistar and Vi looking to potentially dive onto the backline. The Galio is there to follow it up. Now, in terms of the matchup, I'm going to be honest, I don't have a lot of experience with Galio versus Rumble. I imagine the Rumble would get early push, but it's a lane that I don't think we'll see a lot of action around early on. The thing to be cautious of is any potential lane swaps that could come through in this early game.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. Winds of War is a very powerful ability, and obviously Galio's passive giving you that big slam down with your auto attacks as well can do a lot of work. Let's see if MDK decide to put some pressure in the top side, or whether it is predominantly leave the Galio on an island. Both teams moving out onto the map, but you guys at home, you got to move out and remember to log into your Riot account on allesports.com and watch Worlds live to earn exclusive Worlds, emotes, icons, and capsules. Get them for yourselves, show them off in front of your friends. And yeah, be the life of every party with your emotes and your icons.
You go to a party and you show off your League of Legends emotes.
I have League Partner Program, so I've got them all ready.
And that's what you do. It's like flashing your gym badges.
I'm like Smaug, just holding all of them, hoarding all of them underneath me. The Rammus OK one is my favorite. That sits on top of the pile.
But again, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that you go to parties and show these off.
I mean, I look very... I'm 33 now and engaged to be married, okay? There aren't many parties that I go to anymore. The ones I do are on the Rift. Boom, 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 boom.
Okay, wow, I've never actually physically cringed in my life, but that definitely does the
That's
trick.
a lie, Eddie.
True, I'm the king of cringe. Anyway, looking at some of the early setups, it looks like we're going to get stock standard lanes, which is always a joy to see. Ziggs and Alistar. Not the strongest 2v2 early laning phase. They'll be relatively safe though. Very rarely is a Ziggs ever in danger. So I imagine that PSG should be able to get that early prio in the bot lane matchup. In the mid lane, we expect Smolder to have control. And on the top side of the map, I am curious whether or not the Rumble gets that early advantage in terms of push, and what Elyoya and JunJia will use in order to find some early game advantages. Red side start for both junglers means that they will be mirroring each other.
Woody jumping in here. Alvaro getting the knock up as he lands. Just mitigating some of that damage. Obviously, Aftershock helping out as well.
Sorry, I just watched Supa miss both minions because he threw his auto attack and it was just so slow that the minion died before he got the last hit. So he's missed a few already in the early laning phase, as the early pressure coming through is kind of as we expected. Doran's Ring start for both top laners for that extra bit of AP damage to start things off. Fresskowy dropping that ward to try and spot out the Maokai. I think he did, but if nothing else, he should be able to identify that simply due to the Raptors being gone, that JunJia will be on the top side of the map.
JunJia pathing up towards Azhi on this Galio. Winds of War coming out from Myrwn's going to be able to get that early push. It looks like Colossal Smash as well. Does do quite a lot of damage if you're using it in the middle of that other wave. That's the Galio passive, so can just get that push in. Maple jumping forward here. Put a little bit of damage down onto Fresskowy. Gets the shield at the end as well to make it a more even trade than it would have been.
Favorable trade overall though for Fresskowy, who's kind of burned through his mana already. Jungle is now hovering around their respective top and bot lanes. I don't think JunJia really sees an opportunity for a gank here. Actually, hang on a second.
What are we hanging on for, Billy?
I was confused because I didn't see the magic shield on Myrwn, so I thought that he'd skilled something different, but I'm assuming it just got burned.
Yeah, probably. He is playing into a Galio.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I was surprised, right? That's why I said, hang on a second.
Taking a little bit too much damage in that lane, gets it burnt down. Yeah, probably a relatively slow early game between these two teams. The junglers exchanging scuttle crabs. JunJia going in here, looking to see if any of these camps are up. Nothing available for him. Can shadow Maple to make sure that this wave crashes in. Myrwn stepping back, knows that his jungler's on the other side of the map, so is just accepting the wave a little bit deeper. And Elyoya charging up the Vault Breaker just in case any shenanigans were about to occur.
Now PSG, when we kind of look at their year, domestically continue to dominate, naturally, as we've come to expect from so many of the players from PSG. But at MSI, they had an incredible best-of-5 against BLG, surprising many and pushing them to the full 5 games. And coming into this tournament, we heard a lot of hype. A lot of experts on the region really set high expectations for PSG. And then coming into play-ins, ultimately, while they did fall short against MDK, they did knock out the NA third seed. And while the start to the tournament was not a pleasant one, or I should say the Swiss stage was not a pleasant one going up against HLE, I think expectations are still high. The possibility of them being a dark horse still surrounds them. I think many people see the potential of this roster, in particular from their mid-jungle combo. Meanwhile, there's just that era of skepticism that surrounds MDK.
Yeah.
You know, because the organization internationally doesn't have a great reputation behind it.
I mean, they've done better this year, Betty.
They certainly have. But it's one of those things where I think this roster really thrives in an environment where there are no expectations or pressure on them, right? They always talk about how they just love to have fun. They enjoy the game. They want to enjoy playing the game together. And having that mindset was something that, in particular, Supa talked to us extensively about heading into the season finals, all about the just... They wanted good vibes, which I know is a very weird thing, but just to alleviate that pressure of going up against this team or this player really helps your mindset and allows you to focus on who you're playing against. And I'm glad to see that both of these teams from the play-ins have the ability to potentially cause some upset in the Swiss stage. One of them, of course, will be going 0-2, so their tournament road will already be put under scrutiny. And
I think I don't blame people for being skeptical about MDK, because they were really good in winter, and then they fell off the face of a cliff for like 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And then slowly got back into things.
But isn't it funny how, like, as expectations shift, when they start to rise, this team tends to get worse, and when they lower, they tend to overperform.
It's an inverse curve for them. Their skill is inversely proportional to how much you expect them to be able to do. Elyoya here stealing away one of the grubs with Supa and Alvaro moving up towards the top side off the reset. TP coming in from Myrwn as well. He is level 6. I'm not sure if that TP was seen, and it looks like MDK want the fight. He's going to stay out of vision, has that hero's entrance to join any battle that might occur in the river. Now is going to back. So he pushed out the wave, TPs to top lane to cover with the hero's entrance, then can walk back towards bot lane and catch that wave as it crashes in.
Yeah, I mean, it may come across as a wasted TP, but he's going to lose a wave off the back of it, so it's not really the biggest loss. Conversely, he was in a good position to potentially counterattack any potential play that PSG would look to make. So I don't hate the TP. PSG respect the possibility of Myrwn joining the fight, and Azhi will happily take this extra farm, take this extra gold, as we found ourselves in a very slow, timid early game as both teams just prioritize farming and playing for these early objectives.
I don't really blame them for doing that either. Just get yourself towards your first completed items, especially on things like Rumble that have lost a little bit of their early game power. But it gives us an opportunity to talk about PSG's man in the mid lane. Maple has been around for so long. Was part of so many teams known as the LCK Killers, you know, in the good old days. Now is in his last tournament before retirement. He talked about it a little bit in an interview recently, saying he is going to bow out of playing competitive League of Legends at least. And I think it's always important to honor and remember these players, as they have been such stalwarts of the scene for so long.
Well, for sure. I mean, back when they were the LMS, they were really a region to be feared. So much respect from around the world. The upsets they were able to make happen. The Flash Wolves were definitely a scary name, as Maple now the target.
Yes. The ability to jump out with the Fate Sealed and manages to escape any further fray.
I mean, it doesn't convert into a kill, but just removing that ulti alleviates a lot of pressure onto Fresskowy, as Maple will only continue to get stronger in this matchup and have the ability to really lock down this Smolder in the mid lane. So giving more time for Fresskowy to just farm up, chill. It's definitely a comfortable place for him to be as Alvaro sticking around, protecting that control ward.
And not very well, Betty. He's
doing his best.
He tried. He's trying to move Woody out of the way, but Woody was able to secure it. 70 sacks, though, already on Fresskowy, building up towards that 225 mark that we talk about in every single game, because even though it's not as powerful as it once was, it's still a very good breakpoint for the Smolder. Gets himself into a strong position. Across the rest of the map, though, Honor's relatively even. You can see a slight gold lead for Azhi in the top lane, a slight gold lead for Supa in the bot lane. And Dragon has been started up by MDK. It doesn't really look like any reaction is going to come out from PSG. Both teams willing just to farm up. Exemplified mostly by the fact that it is a color for Maple in the mid lane. 43 stacks remaining on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest, Minik. I was expecting MDK to kind of come out the gate swinging a little bit more, but drafting Ziggs and Smolder, perhaps my expectations were too high. Nice pushed wave in from Betty. Means that Supa's going to be forced to catch this, but there's not really anything else that PSG can play for. I'm going to even go in favor of Elyoya as well, who's farming up a storm. I will say, not entirely sure yet on what the goal of the Galio is in terms of this matchup. I guess the idea is the Galio can survive it effectively.
Yeah. He does provide you quite a lot when it comes to that snap engage. Right, Elyoya goes in with the cease and desist, Galio hero's entrance on top of it, and Mega Inferno Bomb on top of that, right? It's almost like a pseudo Jarvan, where it's like, oh, we're just going to lock you all into this spot. But yeah, in terms of the matchup, he kind of just negates it as much as possible. This is the same matchup that BB played when he brought out the Galio top as well.
I will also say, and in my experience, Galios just do very well into short-range comps.
True.
Because, you know, when you're in that melee, when you're in that brawl, that multi-person taunt can be very effective at swinging a fight, or basically just being really annoying for Yone to deal with. And we'll keep track of how Myrwn is able to impact the fight. Of course, he is a little bit behind in terms of XP. Both teams grouping now on the top side of the map, given that the Grubs have respawned. PSG are going to start this one off once again, but MDK is prepared to fight for it.
Oh, Alvaro caught out. Going to pop the Unbreakable Will, though. Azure knocked into the back line. He's currently overheated. The Magnet Storm coming out from Woody as well, and there's the Equalizer. The hero's entrance from Myrwn was immediately cancelled. He was pulled back, and PSG get their first on the board. They're looking for more. It's Fresskowy's locked up, stunned up with the Shadowing Strike. Knocked back with the crash down as well. He flashes the wall. Maple doesn't get over. He flashes forward, and he'll get it in the end. Alvaro tries to punt them away, but can't keep them away from his mid laner.
It starts with Alvaro getting caught out in the river. MDK comes across as disconnected as their jungler on the top side of the river actually gets pushed away by JunJia and Betty, threatening a potential collapse. And you'll see it on the minimap right now. Keep your eyes on how the map is playing out. They're looking for a pick onto Betty. It doesn't quite come to fruition. JunJia then turns his attention up towards top. While all that's happening, Alvaro is getting caught out on the bot side river. A nice flash from Azhi, responded with a good ultimate from Woody, and then as Myrwn tries to disengage or buy time with his ulti, it gets interrupted by Maple. And getting Maple these early kills is going to be very valuable for PSG as they transition into the mid-game.
People getting on the board. Now we see TP to the bot lane as MDK tried to collapse. Woody is here. Elyoya looking for that cease and desist, but can't get in range for it. MDK, though, can continue to rattle down on this turret. 3 plates off it already. All the while, Maple's in that top lane. He TP'd up there, so MDK know that they have a bit of time alone with this tower. Should be able to take it with the satchel as another wave comes crashing in. And there's the satchel. Supa will wait as long as possible before popping it, denying a couple more of those minions.
A lot of gold going over to MDK. The TP going to come out into top lane as well. Maple will get a plate, but nowhere near securing that tower. Dragon in about a minute and a half, Herald in about a minute. We can safely assume that both teams will turn their attention towards the Herald. But Maple's so close to that Blade of the Ruin King spike, that's going to be his priority for now.
1,000 gold lead for PSG. As you say, Maple is the majority of that. He's about, well, he's exactly 1,000, 1.4k ahead now, just jumped a ton. as he has a large advantage in this mid lane. Fresskowy still trying to stack up, now has the Spear of Sojourn complete. And there's about 116 stacks on that Smolder. We'll see if he can continue at this pace, get it around 25 minutes or so. With the plates about to fall off in 30 seconds, Azhi just clears out the wave. But he greed for another. Looks like he respects the fact he doesn't know where the enemy jungler is on the map, so he'll just back away.
Items have come through.
Oh, Vi's going behind him here. Azhi, he's trying to respect as much as possible, but he's gone into that second bush. Elyoya on the collapse. Azhi doesn't have a flash, has an equalizer, but here is the Vault Breaker, lands the initial CC. Elyoya looking for the cease and desist as well, and Azhi is locked up. MDK find a kill in the side lane. Azhi was respectful, but he didn't back away far enough.
This does mean that they'll concede the top tower, and likely the Herald as well.
Might be a tier 2 though, because you can see Supa's moving down.
MDK will set their sights on it, but I don't think they'll be fast enough to secure this objective. Maybe with the addition of Supa.
And Fresskowy's running Demolish as well, so... Is he?
Yeah, he's running Grasp.
Oh, he is running Grasp, yep. He's running Demolish as well, so they should be able to take the tier 2 with their powers combined.
Another setup for the Dragon as well. So ultimately, not a bad trade. The biggest concern you have as MDK is now with the Herald. They can drop this mid, and it's likely going to fall soon. But overall, MDK aren't going to be too unhappy with that play, specifically because you give that gold over to Fresskowy. When you look at the lead being built in mid for Maple, that's a scary position for PSG to be in. Look at the damage already coming out. Alvaro forced the ulti. I mean, he would have died.
Yeah, he would. You're right.
Now he doesn't have it available for the Dragon fight. It looks like MDK is going to concede it. And honestly, I think you should. You don't have to fight for this objective.
Looks like MDK is going to concede it, Betty. Look at where Myrwn is. He's ready for a hero's entrance. Watch him as he comes. Oh, Woody takes a chunk, though, from a bouncing bomb. Fresskowy doesn't have TP for a little while, but MDK... I mean, maybe they'll concede it and just watch, eat a little bit of popcorn. It's Cinema League of Legends for them. Because all they've done is bought a ticket and taken a seat as PSG secure the Drake. So you were right, Vetty. MDK did, in the end, concede it. Although they conceded it by watching PSG take it instead of finding things on the rest of the map. Fresskowy here having to get away from Maple. Already used that Fate Seal, dumping forward the Soul Unbound as well. Super caught wanting as Alvaro has to flash the wall. Bolt Breaker away by Elyoya. Fresskowy died as well at the top side. PSG just randomly find 2 kills on the map.
What just happened? Maple gets a solo kill onto Fresskowy. Supa's caught out, doesn't even get a chance to flash. Now the Herald will be dropped, securing the mid tower. This is going to be a huge swing as the ping's coming to top lane. Maple doesn't want to slow down. I can't believe, like, what just happened?
I mean, it looks like JunJia maybe flashed, twisted, advanced, and then they just followed up with Woody's Magnet Storm and the Killer Instinct because
the bot tower.
They get so much out of that. PSG absolutely running the map right now. 2,000 gold ahead. Maple in a commanding position. Is going to get taunted by Myrwn, but I don't think he gives a damn about that. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Betty TP back in. I haven't really talked about the fact that Betty decided to take the teleport on the Kai'Sa here to match the Ziggs' pressure in the early game.
True.
But smart decision by him, was able to save that mid tier 1. And MDK found wanting a little bit over the last couple of minutes. PSG out to a 2,000 gold lead.
I mean, Maple is a very serious problem. And on top of that, PSG are playing the side lanes better. There is no play on the top side right now. You can maybe trade for this tower, but the collapse from PSG is coming. They're spiking in the mid game very hard.
MDK are looking for something here, but I'm not really sure what. They're all grouped around. Myrwn gets a shove in the top lane. Does have that hero's entrance to join a battle. Woody with a Shattering Strike. Elyoya decides against using the cease and desist. But as you say, Maple is that looming threat in the side lane. Who's going to go deal with him? At the moment, no one from MDK wants to be the one to have to do it. Maple now TPing in is going to make this MDK's problem. Alvaro with a punt back, equalizer on the back line. Here is entrance going in, but that's not going to find anyone with a knock-up. Elyoya trying to take down Azhi, but with a twisted advance following, he is sent to a watery grave. Maple looking for more. Could seal the fate of MDK here. He catches Myrwn in the middle of the Justice Punch. Myrwn has to flash the wall. He'll escape for now. Woody looking for a little bit more, but Supa and Fresskowy are able to escape the battle.
I mean, MDK just keep getting caught on the map. Nice TP usage from Maple to create a flank. Myrwn's forced to collapse quickly with the ultimate to protect the bot lane of MDK. But PSG, they know they're stronger. They're not hesitating. They're forcing these fights at every opportunity, and it's so easy for them to do it. You have Woody's engage, you have the ultimate from JunJia, and then also Azhi has such great ultimates at every opportunity that MDK are just very quickly falling apart.
MDK have this composition that likes to go in, that likes to dive in with the Vi, with the Galio, you know, but a lot of it's just being used defensively.
Well, I think they're very reliant on scaling, so they need Fresskowy to ramp up, they need Supa to ramp up, and I understand that, but if that's the case, then you should just prioritize constantly cross-mapping. You should just be playing away from where PSG is, but instead they're just getting caught. They're making it easy for PSG to force these engages. You're just funneling more gold into their key carries, and I mean, yeah, MDK, they're giving too many opportunities over to PSG, and now they find themselves 3k gold down.
And PSG is doing a great job of capitalizing on those mistakes, on those opportunities, right? Maple sitting in a very strong spot, Stridebreaker and the Blade of the Ruin King complete, and this is kind of the PSG that we expected to see at this Worlds after how, you know, they're always really dominant, obviously, in the PCS, but how they performed at MSI as well with that 5-game banger against BLG. It was a slow start to Worlds for them, but they've really come alive over the last couple of days. Although against Hanwha Life weren't able to have as much impact in that game as they would have liked. Here they're battling for that 1-on-1 spot as MDK need to either slow the game down enough that they can scale up or not step out of position like that. Fresskowy's rooted up, locked up. Killer Instinct is exactly that as Fresskowy pulls. Not sure why he's face checking into nothing on his own, but PSG are very happy to take the kill.
I mean, we started this game by talking about how I think Fresskowy has been underperforming at this World Championship, and he's not having an easy game now. 1 and 3 on the Smolder. He's already been solo killed by Maple once before, but smoothly and cleanly, PSG are just consistently punishing the mistakes, and MDK continue to lose more ground. With the Stridebreaker done, level 14 on the Yone. He's the highest level by far. He has 2 levels over every single player on MDK, and he's going to keep sitting in a side lane, being a menace.
Yeah, and that's all he needs to do, right? Just go in, chunk someone out, back away, and the objective's secured. It's like, bang, and the dirt is gone, you know?
It's kind of disappointing to see from MDK because they're a team that I kind of like their creative and explosiveness.
Yeah.
So to see them index so heavily into this scaling approach where we've really not seen Elyoya's impact anywhere on the map. We haven't seen them try and force any plays outside of what we saw one gank onto Maple in the mid game. We saw a bit of a skirmish around the grubs. It's just been kind of dominated by the individuals of PSG that have constantly punished the mistakes of MDK.
MDK struggling to find any sort of purchase. Fresskowy still only at 190 stacks, very much slowed down in the mid game. You can see win probability powered by AWS very much in PSG's favor, and so it should be. PSG now coming in.
Again, another TP.
Just grass being used. That's not going to hit anyone. MDK would disengage for now. The TP in, as you say, from Azure. Counter TP, but that's in the middle of the fight. The Equalizer miles wide. The Magnet Storm under the backline. This could be the opportunity MDK are looking for. Here comes a hero. It's Myrwn. He lands the taunt on Betty on the backline as well, who's opening up under Fresskowy. Betty's going to tank the Baron, flashes across the wall. Azure burning Elyoya, though, and Maple just wide. Supa and Myrwn trying to survive, but at PSG, even though the fight was not looking good for them, managed to clean it up in the end.
PSG just have too much damage from so many angles. MDK, they were immediately forced on the retreat as a collapse was coming from every single side. The ultimate does come through from Myrwn. You're optimistic about the wombo combo, but it's not enough. Woody respawns, the Baron is up for grabs, and PSG are dominating in the last game of the day.
And you feel that was the last chance for MDK. PSG, it was not the cleanest fight from them. The Equalizer was a mile away from where you wanted it to be, but still the damage came through. The fight rung true for PSG, and now the PCS #1 seed looking for their first win here in the World Swiss stage. TP into the mid lane by Supa, just trying to get these waves pushed because now they have to deal with Baron for 2.5 minutes.
I mean, I was hoping we could get a replay because I wanted to showcase how like MDK had a good opportunity. You could see the idea behind their composition, but then they just didn't have the damage.
Yeah.
They're just too far behind. They don't have the spikes they need. Just kind of why we talked earlier about how they've drafted in a way that they're relying on late game. They're relying on this late game insurance, and it kind of relies on PSG to not try and force the leads that they can build, which this team has definitely done. They've found picks, they've done a good job of playing around the map, and now with Baron, they're playing through 2 lanes. Who's going to stop Yone? He's about to hit level 16, Medic! He's a full 3 levels over Fresskowy.
I mean,
What a way to play. He's too strong, man.
He could probably 1v3 right now.
Yeah, I think he could.
Fresskowy still trying to stack up on this Smolder. 2 items for him, 2 as well on Supa, but look at the other side. Maple's on his way to his 3rd. Pretty sharpish. Ginsu's complete. Nash's on its way for Betty. Nature's Grass coming out. Myrwn will tank it. Elyoya and Supa leave him for Dust. The equalizer on the backline as well. Mom comes out, and in the mid lane, Fresskowy is able to get one, but down towards the bottom side. Myrwn will fall as well. PSG still have the Baron buff. Supa trying to keep them at bay, but he can't clear the minions out in time. PSG will crack the base of MDK.
The Grubs doing work there as well as they're able to secure the inhibitor. They can turn their attention towards the mid lane. MDK trying to ping it out, get to that wave as quickly as they can to deny access to that tower. But the resets will come through from PSG. A 9k gold lead. Slow, steady, methodically. They've just been tearing MDK apart. And I mean, there's little to criticize on the side of PSG. They had a good start to the game, easy laning phases, they didn't concede anything, and they just kind of tried to trade objectives on the map. They didn't overstay their welcome, they didn't try and overforce.
So I think this is just Maple being too greedy, right? It's gotta be. Doesn't quite hit the fake
call
sealed.
that the banana combo.
Yeah. And then
still gets the kill. And
the tower
extra
shot.
Tower shot, yes.
So if he'd gone to the right, I think he survives.
Maybe.
Yeah. But hit by Mom in the tower shot, which was hidden by Mom, sneaking something into your lunchbox. Here's an extra packet of Smarties for you. Fresskowy, a little tiny treat in what has been a bit of a disparage of a game. Now PSG have super minions in that bot lane. MDK trying to defend top mid, but Maple still a threat ever looming over their shoulder. Fresskowy 3 stacks away from 225, but I feel that might just be a tiny bit too little, a tiny bit too late for MDK. JunJia stepping up as well. He's level 14. It's higher level than Myrwn, and he is playing in the jungle right now.
I honestly just don't see how MDK win. I genuinely feel like that they just don't have enough damage.
I mean, I agree with you, Eddie.
And you kind of just need PSG to aggressively throw over and over again to try and claw this game back. They're overstacking in mid right now because it's an easy objective to take. You throw out the Maokai ultimates, Alvaro doing what he can to defend.
But you can see, like, JunJia just tanks up the Mega Inferno Bomb. Elyoya goes in, Twisted Advance going out as well. There is the equalizer. JunJia had to flash away, using the phase rush as well to escape. In the end, MDK able to keep their tower standing with only a sliver of HP. And Elyoya dodges away. Alvaro eats the Void Seeker.
I'm surprised that PSG, that MDK were actually able to keep that tower alive before PSG can just turn their attention now towards the Dragon.
I'm going to be honest, Veddy, don't think it matters. Because I think Maple just unbinds his soul, walks up, autos it twice, it dies, and who really cares that you get the tower alive?
Sure. I mean, it's a brief moment of solace.
Yeah. You are trying to find the small hope at the end of the tunnel.
I mean,
I appreciate that. I just don't think MDK have much of it right now.
I mean, I just know what the comms are like, right? So if you defend that tower, you're like, good job, nice. We're able to hold, we're able to hold, you know? Like,
however, we're not in comms with the players, so we can be honest.
Yeah.
It's done, Vegas. If MDK come back from this, I would do an Atlas and say I'll shave my head, but I got a new haircut today and I'm not going to do that.
Also,
Atlas will shave his head.
Yeah, Atlas will shave.
Atlas will shave his head if MDK come back from this.
That's how confident we are.
Yeah. He's probably flying somewhere right now. Catch this on the flip side when he lands, but PSG in such commanding position.
I mean, Betty's now level 16.
3.5 items complete for him. Supa does have a Rabadon, so there is a little bit more damage coming out from MDK. They have been able to delay. Fresskowy's hit that break point of 225, now almost at 250 stacks, and 3 items for himself as well. But with Baron up in 40 seconds, it feels like PSG will just welcome MDK into that fight. The bot lane inhibitor still has a minute 30 before it respawns.
MDK at the very least have push in mid, but these side waves are a problem. Bot needs to go and be caught. The inhibitor respawned in about a minute's time. Galio going to head over there. Oh, Woody will not face check. And PSG just setting up for the Baron.
Yep.
Top wave pushed, mid control. Easy, patient steps. PSG really taking their time.
Fresskowy using the far side alteration to get a little bit of vision around the corner to make sure no one was backing up Maple. Maple just going in by himself. Fresskowy forced away, didn't burn the flash though. But with the Baron up, Fresskowy's going to have to back. There's a TP opportunity for him, but where's he going to teleport to? Only one ward anywhere outside the opening lines of that MDK jungle.
Yeah, now the thing
TPs
about
to the mid
Yone
lane.
is that he's strong in side lane, but also he's really quick at killing Baron.
Double TP coming out here. Myrwn's looking for something. The Baron already down to 5,000 HP. Elyoya can try and get in the pit. The Shadowing Strike's going to stop him, though, and the Baron already secured by PSG. Azhi looking for that flank as well. Has the Equalizer. Dive in with a killer instinct. Betty immediately dived on. The Equalizer on the backline. Chunks Supa out. Betty dodging away here as MDK have all dived in, but I'm not sure they have the target selection they were looking for. Elyoya down. Azure 2. Fresskowy flashing away. Supa caught. Maple sends him packing. The static shift proc as well to kill Alvaro. And it's only Fresskowy and Myrwn left alive. JunJia just going to chase Fresskowy out. Betty behind him with the TP. Fresskowy didn't realize the unseen Kai'Sa's the deadliest. Another Void Seeker finds its mark, and the Twisted Advance will advance PSG to 1-1. Maple TPing in behind them now, and only Myrwn left to defend.
I mean, the arm guard did so much work for Betty. So much was invested from MDK to try and lock him down, and he just tanked it all by going golden. MDK threw everything and the kitchen sink, and it wasn't enough. Now with the Baron, PSG set their sights on the Nexus, but instead they're going for another inhibitor tower.
Can't quite get it yet. Betty is low, no TP on him. Second inhibitor going down. PSG might just back away, no need to force it. That's the sort of mistake that could get MDK back into the game if you overextend without your summoners and without your health bars. PSG will just take everything away from this top side of the map. They can play for a Mountain Soul in a minute and a half time, but they might just look for the top lane. They have a minute and a half as well on this Baron buff remaining, so play through top, go for 3 inhibs. If all else fails, get yourself a soul.
And I will say that, like, I am disappointed to see this play from MDK. I feel like that the biggest strength that we've seen from them so far in this tournament has been their bot lane, and I feel like that they've been very muted, right? They haven't really been given the tools to flourish, to set up, to kind of fly in a sense. And now the collapse is coming in from PSG.
Woody looking to send MDK to infinity and beyond. There's a snake in his boot right now, and he's looking for the catch. Could jump across the wall. Storm, it's 3, the Equalizer 2! Send them packing, PSG! They collapse in the jungle. Woody with a monster flank, and MDK put into 4 coffins. Alvaro, he can say the eulogy because it's all done now for PSG.
PSG get their revenge from play-ins. They'll try and catch the wave. They'll need some minions to hit onto the tower, but there's only Alvaro left standing, and I don't think he's going to be enough to stop the siege from PSG.
I'm not sure a single cow can stand in front of so much might. PSG controlled the game from early to the end, and they will even out their score at 1-1.
1-0-16 for JunJia, 1-1-16 for Woody. The jungle support combo really doing work to set up their team for success. Incredibly clean game from PSG from start to finish, and now the pressure falls on to MDK as they find themselves at 0-2.
Have a couple of days to mull it over. I believe our 0-2 matches are on Monday, so a little bit of time to really get yourself in a strong position for those. I may be wrong on that. I know our winners are tomorrow. I think the 0-2 is 1-1
and then 0-2.
Yeah, I thought so. But we will have to wait a couple of days to see MDK play again. For PSG, they go to 1-1. They'll be playing in 2 days' time at that 1-1 scoreline.
But props to PSG.
Yeah, great series.
We have seen the development from them.
It's a better one series, I guess. Yeah, great series.
But we've seen the development of them throughout the tournament, and yeah, I really do think that Maple is leveling up. But again, a lot of credit I think needs to go to the supporting crew in jungle, JunJia and PSG Woody. They just set up so many of the plays so nicely. They were so patient around the objectives. They were very respectful of Myrwn involving in the fight, and we didn't really see what the role of the Galio was in the fights. Like, it didn't really have any impact. We didn't see Supa have an opportunity to pop off, and honestly, Maple just outclassed Fresskowy on a side lane, finding solo kill, putting so much pressure down onto him, and really muting his presence in the matchup.
And for MDK, it was very quiet. And that's not what we know them for. We know them for explosiveness. We know them for being aggressive. We know them for pocket picks that perhaps aren't the Galio into the Rumble, or at least if they are played around and have impact in the game. So that's why it was disappointing as a European caster to see MDK struggle like this. Obviously, all credit to PSG, right? They played the game incredibly well, but MDK just never really felt like they had their teeth into this match.
And I think the exciting thing is with a performance like this from PSG, it really shapes up our 1-1 group to be a very exciting one. And as we're going to find out the matchups later on this evening, I'm excited to see who's going to get paired up against who, because remember, there's some curveballs. BLG is in that group.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it is.
So there's going to be some crazy competition. But we're going to be ready for an interview.
Yeah, we're going over to an interview in just a couple of seconds. We're going to send it over to Shox and Maple in the Verizon post-game interview.
It's PSG that comes out victorious, and Maple had a monster game. Maple, how much were you motivated by wanting to get revenge for what happened in the play-ins?
就是你们今天呢，想要复仇对 MDK？
非常想吧，因为毕竟在入围赛的时候输给了他们，然后那时候其实我们打得挺不好的。
So I really want to get this revenge since we didn't play well against them in play-ins.
What do you think were the biggest adaptations in your play, and how have you leveled up coming into the Swiss stage to get this one and hopefully a few following this?
那就是从入围赛到现在，你们学到了什么才能让今天的胜利成功呢？
主要是我们的状态好很多吧，之前我觉得我们的状态比较不稳定吧，然后就是蛮容易送头的。
So I think we are in a better stabilized now, and so we get better. Not like before, we kind of like give out too many obstacles.
Okay, well, we have high hopes for PSG. Of course, at MSI, you played that unbelievable best-of-5 versus BLG. You showed really what you could do. Do you think it's possible for PSG to get that and a higher level at this World Championship?
那我们都对 PSG 其实有蛮高的期待，那也看到就是大家在MSI 的时候，像对上 BLG 也达到了不错的成绩。那这次的话，就是能不能也能够得到更高的成就呢？
我觉得我们队伍的话，其实是一个上下限都蛮高的队伍吧，就是我们的上限也可以打得非常好，所以我觉得如果我们有今天这个状态的话，其实是有机会赢下其他强队的。
So I believe our team can do very good like today, and if we keep on going, I think we'll be able to beat the stronger teams.
Okay, we're looking forward to it. Now, Maple, you have said that this may be your last World Championship as well, and we would be very sad to see you go. But as you look ahead this journey that you're going to take at Worlds, what would you like people to remember you by at the end of this Worlds run for you?
那其实我们也很遗憾听到你也是需要退休了，那就是希望大家在这个世界赛对你留下什么样的印象呢？
就想要证明自己还是顶尖的吧。就是其实赛前的话，有人说可能我的哑铃或是球女玩不好，但是我觉得我在今年的话都证明自己。
So I want to tell everybody that I'm still one of the best players since like somebody doubt my Yone and Oriana, but I want to make them believe that I can do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Make them believe, indeed. Amazing performance from PSG Talon and Maple and all the rest of the boys here. And I'm really happy to say this, of course, with an amazing smile. We suck!
That was great.
Oh no!
Not to be dramatic or anything, but we suck!
But also, either end of that spectrum, this is the PSG we were promised, right? This was the team that showed up. This is Maple on the Yone performance that was just 1v9, 2 levels above the rest of his opponents at one point in the game. No one could answer him side. All of PSG just showed up today, and this is what we wanted to see.
He talked about it in that interview. He wanted revenge.
Yeah.
He got his revenge. They looked a lot better. You talked about their side lane presence. The fact that they got that lead and it just kept on
Kai'Sa
stacking.
did more damage than Yone in this game?
That is crazy.
That
Pretty
must have been that
insane.
last static shift proc there.
But I love to see what can happen within a few days. how a team can adapt, what a few scrims blocks can change for a team, and how different PSG has been from the first game we saw from them until this performance.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, you know, MDK came in with a composition that was very much based around ulting someone with Vi, combining it with the Galio, and then finding the Ziggs ultimate on top of it. But the moment they screwed that Rift Hell fight up,
yeah,
that's where they fell too far behind to do anything. There was too many people who could buy Seeker's Arm God and benefit from that on PSG. And once Mabel was online, I mean, we can only praise the guys so much, right? It was just so difficult for them. And I mean, everyone on PSG, Woody as well, with this amazing engage.
100%. And like, just, you know, looking at Mad Lions a little bit more, you mentioned the Rift Rell fight. It's like a bit of miscommunication, like Alvaro going into the bush when Elyoya was on top side. I guess they just weren't playing through the same lane. And then even a little bit after that, same mistake around that same side of the map. Galio ulti went on Vi, would have been a little bit better, but still I don't think they were on the same page of how they wanted to take that fight. These are small things they're going to be reviewing and going back to, especially once they know their future opponents. But for PSG, man, like, as you can see right behind us, a round of applause from the coaching staff as they feel like they have gotten things back together.
Yeah, I mean, 1-1 now, they can run the gauntlet. They can go up against G2 now if they want to and see how much of Europe they can contest. So, you know, they were already the North American killers.
True.
They got a bit of Europe in them.
Yeah.
Who knows where they're coming for next? You never know.
Scaling back to being the Korean killers again.
We will find out in just a few minutes. But before that, so let's review today a bit and see how things went. We went from a day one of Swiss that was really, I don't want to say one-sided, but like went according to expectations. Did today go according expectations? And I know that I'm asking this to an ADC representative and an LCS representative.
I'm heartbroken.
So.
I'm a little heartbroken, but at least I would say we came out of the first day with no upsets. And then at least we've got the LNG versus BLG upset right out the get-go. So that one, BLG will feel upset about, because remember, like, people were talking about them as tournament favorites, or at least the top 2 team next to JunJia. Now it kind of throws everything up in the air, or it could just be a learning period for them. Still, that's an upset that I enjoy. It puts a lot of faith into LNG a bit from the fans.
Yeah, and I mean, are you becoming an LNG fan yourself, right? You know,
not just yet. I need a little more, okay? I need a little more.
I get a 3-0. Maybe you can take it there. But yeah, for the majority of that part, you're pretty much right. I think Liquid showed really good once again early game and showed promise, but I mean, still some issues, just not hitting the mark once you reach that late game. I still think now that they're in a position where they're moving into a best of 3 stage, because it's elimination after elimination from them. They might be a bit more comfortable having that best of, but I mean, you never know.
Let's just say from the Western side, there was a lot of use of the coach cams. From G2 game, the Team Liquid game, as you mentioned, like...
I mean, we need content. We're not getting that in game, so we might as well get it from the coach.
I did not want to be that water bottle. It had it coming. I don't know what it did to him.
He's been hurting water bottles all year long. Yeah. That guy has... We need to keep the water bottles away from him.
From the O and 1 teams, which one do you think had the best recovery today from day one?
Ooh.
Actually, I would put LNG in there. LNG Enjoyer, honestly, after the first game that we saw from them. I don't want to talk too much about T1 because I feel like it was such a big mismatch, even though I love what Pain tried to make happen in the early stages of the game. But yeah, from stumbles in...
I definitely agree with you, because I was like, is there anyone other than the LNG? For me, I guess it was... PSG, just because if you're just talking about the one game from the HLE to this one, sure, but also just the play-ins to this point, they looked a lot different. So I wonder who they're going to draw, because people will always pay like a little bit of lip service to PSG being a strong team, but the question is always going to be how strong. At MSI, they took BLG to 5 games, but the asterisk will always be, can they do that consistently?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, if they lose at this Worlds, no one's going to be talking about MSI next year, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is the moment it comes down to. I'd also love to talk about some of the teams that did win today, Weibo Gaming and Fnatic, because while they had their victories, I don't think they inspired a lot of confidence in those victories for their fans as well. So I'm still hoping to see some work coming into these teams. And I mean, Swiss stage is still for a decent amount of time, right? So they'll have a little bit, but not too much. So those adaptations, they're gonna have to come through soon.
It depends on which side of the bracket you stand from, because for some of these teams, the next game is gonna be crucial for them, and we're seconds away from the group show. Draw show, whatever. I don't know what I'm saying. Sharks, take it away. Draw show is ready. And we're going to talk about this after that.
Welcome everyone to the World's 2024 Swiss Stage Draw Show. My name is Shox and I'm joined here by Malu, a Riot Games tournament official. Our 16 teams have been divided based on their results over the last 2 days of competition. The first pillar here consists of teams that went 2-0. The second pillar are the teams with a 1-1 record. And finally, we have the 0-2 teams. For the remaining rounds of the Swiss Stage Draw, repeat matchups are not allowed. If a team is drawn against someone they have already played, or if a draw would force 2 other teams into a repeated matchup, the drawn team will be moved to the next available matchup. Let's start with our 2-0 teams, consisting of LNG, HLE, JunJia, and DK. Malu, would you please draw the first team? HLE. And they will be facing JunJia. HLE JunJia is a valid draw and our best of 3 for the 2-0 teams. You can draw the next team, Malu. D+Kia. Go ahead and draw their opponents. LNG. This is also a valid draw, D+Kia versus LNG. Now we are moving on to our 1-1 teams. In our 1-1 pool, we have G2, BLG, TES, Weibo Gaming, Fnatic, FlyQuest, T1, and PSG. Malu, you can go ahead and draw the first team. BLG. You can draw the next team. That is a valid draw. T1 versus BLG. Go ahead and draw the next team. PSG. Let's see who their opponents are. FlyQuest. PSG FlyQuest is a valid matchup, so we're moving on to our next matchup. Go ahead. Top Esports. Go ahead and draw their opponents. Fnatic. That is also a valid draw. Top Esports versus Fnatic. Now, our last matchup. Go ahead. Weibo Gaming. And let's see their opponent. G2 Esports. That is a valid draw as well. Weibo versus G2. Finally, for our 0 and 2 teams, we have Team Liquid, Pain Gaming, GAM, and MDK. Go ahead, Malu, you can draw the first team. Pain Gaming. Let's see their opponents. Team Liquid. That is a valid draw. Team Liquid versus Pain. You can go ahead for our next matchup. Mad Lions Koi. Go ahead. GAM Esports. That is also a valid draw, so that means that our matchups are set for round 3 of the World's 2024 Swiss stage. Round 3 will be played over the next 3 days. 2 teams will advance to the knockout stage and 2 teams will say goodbye to Worlds 2024. And remember, league officials will confirm the order of the matches tonight. Be sure to follow us on lolesports.com to see the schedule as it is locked in. Thank you so much and goodbye.
Not quite goodbye yet. We want to react on what happened.
Yeah, let's
here.
do it.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
Oh my God, there's a lot. First of all, let's start with HLE Genji, the LCK final rematch.
There it is.
Genji gets their get back. They get the opportunity to be able to face him once more.
And it's not just a best of 1, it's a best of 3 tomorrow coming through with it, right? So you know that's going to deliver. I think as well, PSG versus FlyQuest for me, little bit of a rematch as well from last year's World, so there's some time. I mean, it's not an elimination match, but certainly there's some grudges that needs to be settled here.
We need that.
Match.
And also maybe to just stop the whole NA killers mindset. Okay, as long as we win this one, I think we'll be okay.
Sure.
The nickname is gone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
gone.
it's the NA killer right now. They seems like the West killers with how PSG's been faring this tournament so far, right?
That's fair too.
No, they're coming for all of us. It's not just you.
We must fight against them. Another one is Top Esports versus Fnatic.
Yeah.
It starts with success.
Oh my God.
I had to say it. Shox was on stage.
She's not even here.
She was on stage. I had to say it.
I hope she's not listening.
When is that one gonna be? It's 1 and 1. Well, no, not tomorrow.
That's
not too sure.
Okay.
It's not gonna be tomorrow.
It's fine.
It's winners we're looking at tomorrow.
Shox will not be hosting for that day. She will not be monologuing. That's we had this at MSI. She was on the plane. We put her on the plane as they were playing. We're gonna do the same thing here.
The one I'm the most excited about got all of that out of the way. Team Liquid got Pain. Look, all I'm saying
You
was,
were waiting for this.
I was waiting
did
for
not
it.
see him.
We had tough matchup after tough matchup. They obviously are not looking happy after the games that they've had. Now they went up against Pain. I'm speaking, obviously it sounds like I'm talking as if this is like a done conclusion. It's not. It's not a foregone conclusion. All right, we still have to play out our best, but that one is going to definitely be, it should be a free one for Team Liquid.
But I mean, no matter what, the pressure's on for the rest of them, right? It's not just this best of 3 against Pain Gaming, it's the next best of 3 as well. It's going to be best of 3s from now on and out. And the pressure is on for you because it is elimination every single time you walk on the stage now.
There's no you, it's us. GB.
Oh yeah,
It's
true.
the
We're
West
all in it.
versus the rest. No,
We're
but
all
yeah.
in it.
Tomorrow we're gonna start with the 2-0 teams. So that's Hanwha Life Esports versus Genji, MDK versus NNG. I would ask you guys what is your expectation for this one, but I'm just waiting for this matchup. Like, I want to see what's gonna happen. I want to see how much NG changed. I don't know if I have expectations actually. I just know it's gonna be good League of Legends.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice seeing FLICKR versus Chovy as well. I think for me as a fan, that's just an incredible matchup. The down one, the DK one versus LNG. I think that was the most favorable draw LNG could have got out of that as well in best of 3 scenario. So I'm curious to see how that's gonna look. DK didn't look as stable today. Like, they had great early game, don't get me wrong. but they were prone to throw it, and giving
yeah.
LNG a lead can be very, very diminishing because they're very good at playing from ahead.
D+ suddenly became fans of Swiss stage. That's all I'm gonna say, because like the fact that they were able to get Fnatic, get FlyQuest, now they're facing LNG, and I'm saying just based off the pool that was available, right? They could have gotten
both of them are happy about that.
Yes, they're both happy about it, absolutely, right? So if they end up going to top 8 just based off of the draw that they have been able to get and learning across the way, because they've still been having tough games, so they're learning while having these draws. They're extremely happy about it. I'm excited to see how they both perform against each other. LNG is the team that I think have shown me a little bit more surprising play, so I'm excited. Let's just get straight to it.
Ramping up. Yeah, let's get straight to it. After a good night's sleep, because we're tired, we had a long day here.
I mean, it's
all
been
of us did.
2 days with 8 best of 5s.
This.
I mean, you've been on every single time. Law, you're going to continue to go on. I mean, to all the fans, thank you so much for watching all this packed League of Legends we've had. And honestly, also to the staff here at side, I've been seeing a lot of faces. They've been exhausted as well. I know you guys are watching. I just want to say to all the staff who's been going through these days, you've done incredible. Thank you so much for holding on. And tomorrow's going to be easier because it's 2 best of 3s, so it's only 6 games. But yeah, thank you everyone who's been sticking by with us.
Absolutely. And the fans who've been here as well with us, just being able to watch all the games and enjoy it with us. So
great support.
A lot of fun.
And great mood at the studio. Thank you guys. I'm going to leave it to you.
Oh, there we go. Timo has
Send some love for
ready.
the MCR. These are the heroes that you don't see on camera, of course. We got more League of Legends tomorrow, of course, with the 3rd day of Swiss Stage, 2 p.m. CEST. You don't want to miss it. Also, be aware of the official schedule for tomorrow. You can find it on lotesports.com when it's going to be published in a few minutes, I guess. Have a good night, good day, wherever you are around the world. We appreciate you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Don't throw it, Raz. Don't throw it.
1. Oh, my God.
Steady turns as Weiwei flies in again. Free farming, Scout does it again! Sealing the fate of the first seed of the LPL. That's my FLICKR protege. No way to top esports. Get something out of nothing! What the hell? How do they win? It's a sandwich, but I think for TS, it's a rotten one. And JunJia with the 10 out of 10 team fight.
Ash no flash. Smolder's right side. Right side.
These are flashes! But I don't think it's enough. Armor still chasing down the ult to get away. Zeka gets him.
Oh, stick up to guys. Don't pull some flash. Yeah. Nice.
Weibo fight again.
Starts up on the red. Gumiyushi falling low, 210 HP on him. Chitan pops the barrier! That is the first blood! Trying to kill the king, and he should be able to take him down. FLICKR dashes back with Jinkedo. And Pain Gaming can only watch from the fountain as T1 rip them apart. Chase continues. He flashes into the curse of the Sad Mummy. He's not out, Betty a volley. Top lane. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Whippo might just solo kill Showmaker. He gets him. What the hell is happening? On the back line is devastating. FlyQuest slain where they stand.
Look, Smoldinho, guys, Smoldinho. I can go here, by the way. I can go here. I'll take it.
It's 3, the equalizer 2. Send them packing, PSG. They collapse.
This is what you want.